I think that is what drives so many of us, regardless of what our experiences have been, is like something better is possible.
Tasha, Michael, thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate this.
Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I say this genuinely. Meadowlarks is one of my favorite films this year.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it
Thank you.
is a truly remarkable film. Tasha, tell us, where did it come from?
Well, it started with the documentary that I made called Birth of a Family. And Betty Ann Adam, who's a Dene journalist and storyteller, came to me, and I had told her prior, I'm like, if you ever are interested in film, let me know. You know, you're such a great storyteller. So she's like, so I've looked for my family for 30 years and I found them, and we're going to go on a holiday together and meet for the first time. And somebody told us we should document it. So what do you think? And I was like, oh my God, what an amazing story. And you know, so the film exists, it's people can see it, but it really is their story. Like I felt as the filmmaker, I'm just creating space for them to let an audience be a witness to this moment. And you know, I put the film out. It screened at Hot Docs, and a producer, Julie Rosenberg, who's one of the producers, saw it and came to me and asked if I was interested in scripted and fiction, and I was like, yes. I just haven't figured out how to make that leap. And she, you know, came on this idea. She said, you know, you could adapt it because you know there's a lot that's there, but I think, you know, is there more you could bring to it? And I was like, yeah, you know, I can explore the interior lives more of fictional characters. You know, I can change who they are to bring in a wider range of experience, and Birth of a Family remain as that family story, but try to make Meadowlarks, you know, more uh all uh you know, to hopefully that it means something to all survivors or all people who've been through that experience.
I'm glad you said that because I had wondered about the lines between truth and fiction here
Hmm.
because I knew about the documentary, but
Hmm.
so really this was an opportunity for you to bring in a range of experiences into these characters while still holding true to their story. Is that what
No,
no?
I just kept the premise.
Of course. Yes, it's not that
Mhm.
this is not them for real. That's right.
No,
No, of
I
course not.
just kept the premise and started over with characters. And, you know, I think the characters are inspired by, I've known a lot of people that have had gone through this experience, myself included. And I think, you know, there are commonalities that we have that we share. So I think there's, you know, there's elements of them, but the details, the personality, like all of those things, it's more archetypal almost of what people who have been through this experience, you know, what their experience, how their experience shapes them. um but no, and with their blessing, I said, I don't, the characters aren't you, there's no direct correlation, I'm starting from scratch, but I'd like to keep the premise of what you guys did. And also, you know, someone asked sort of what remained or what I learned, and it really is just their courage, the courage that the real siblings had to come and do this. I think I kept that. It's like, okay, the four who come, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to put themselves in this place of emotional vulnerability. And so, you know, that's a real kind of brave.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
Michael, what was this experience like for you? You're phenomenal in this film, and
Thank you.
um, but here you're bringing this in. Did you get a chance to speak with the families? What sort of preparation do you do for a role like this?
It was uh, actually quite straightforward for me. Um, Tasha and I have known each other for a long, long time, and she reached out to me and said, "I've written this story, and I'd love for you to read it." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so honored!" And she sent me an early draft, and I was like, "This is an incredible story, this beautiful story." And she said, "Look at the role of Anthony and let me know what you think." And I was like, "Well, I want to play him, of course. Like, let's do this." And time passed, and then eventually Tasha says, we're going to make the movie. I was like, I'm in. So I knew about Birth of a Family, but Tasha said, this is not a dramatization of that film. This is a completely new story. It's a fictional story. And so given that permission, I simply read the script and started to develop an approach to Anthony. As I mentioned, Indigenous people have grown up with the knowledge of the Sixties Scoop, just as we grew up with knowledge of Indian residential school. Like I've always known it. I've always known about it since I was a kid. So to me, it's just sort of like it's part of our history. So I didn't have to do a lot of research on that specific, historical, like a historical angle. I was able to simply concentrate on Anthony, and he's so well written. He's drawn with so many dimensions. I was like, okay, this is all I need to do. I just need to like do my work as an actor, drill down, and find the core. And Tasha said, do you want to watch the documentary? I said, no, I don't. I want to build this guy first. I want to find out who he is. And Tasha was really instrumental in helping me figure out how to play him. Midway through the whole thing, like we were on set, and I was like, I'm gonna watch the documentary now. I feel like I've got a handle on who Anthony is. And I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I didn't do this in reverse, because I could see how completely different the original family was, and the characters that we were playing. And so but the knowledge of that story, the story about not knowing who you are in relation to each other, our relationality, was something I brought from the documentary. And I was like, oh, these people, they don't know how to belong. Okay. And so then that kind of informed the rest of my playing. But by that point, we'd already established a relationship. I'd already established that, Marianne and Anthony were like, they were totally simpatico, like they connected immediately and beyond words. So, I was able to, just like any project, piece together a map of how to do the work. And Tasha was instrumental in that.
Well, it's incredible to see these siblings together, and everybody is bringing their own story. It's fascinating because, of course, being all rooted in not the same family and the same origins, if you will, they're all coming with different trauma. And I would love to hear from you both. I know we're starting to run out of time, but the idea of having a understanding what home means while you're wrestling with displacement. Like, what does it mean to build home and find that safety and security in one another?
Yeah, that's, I think that's it. I mean, they have had that, different layers and kinds of, as you say, trauma, and also different kinds and ways that they've figured out how to survive and figured out how to live and figured out how to cope with that. And, I think that that's really fundamental. It's just sometimes it's like the coping isn't going to work in this circumstance, and that destabilizing is, I think, where the drama is, because they have to figure out a new way of relating because of who these people are. And I think that's what's so fascinating, and I think that's really where their performances really dug into that and made it, you write words, and Emil and I spent a lot, and have to give a shout out to Emil Scher, the co-writer. I had the idea for Anthony loosely based, on an old boyfriend of mine. And and we talked, and I said, at the heart of it, he has no idea he's handsome because he's been so made small and invisible his whole life. And And that was the core. And we just built Anthony from there. And Emil had such great insights. But, I think that, there is this notion of, just taking that leap that something more is possible. And I think that is what drives so many of us, regardless of what our experiences have been, is like something better is possible. And if not as much for us, then for our children. And I think, we also included the children in different ways, because you can see how hard everyone's trying, because that's the same goal. Yeah.
Absolutely. Honestly, to you both, we have to wrap. We're out of time. I just thank you so much for the opportunity to chat and sharing such a beautiful story, because it really is. It is a remarkable film.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too. Thanks.
Take care.
Okay.